I tested $5,000 worth of Quest 3 and Quest 3S accessories to build my dream VR setup. Today, we find out if any of this was actually worth it, and I'll place each of them into a tier list. First up, we have Locomotion. The biggest immersion breaker in VR, in my opinion, is moving your character with a joystick while your body stays still. It can cause motion sickness, and it just doesn't feel right. To solve that, we have the Cat 2 C2 Core treadmill. Now the goal here is to get rid of that thumbstick and feel like I'm actually walking through the mountain ranges of Skyrim. The fact that this is also just an incredible way to get your steps in is an added bonus. Now, I'm not going to pretend like this is the perfect device. You know, it's massive, it's expensive at $1,000, it's noisy, and it actually feels more like sliding than walking. But once you get used to it, man, walking through Skyrim is absolutely beautiful. And one modification I did was disable fast travel. This meant that sometimes all I would get done is walk from one quest giver to the cave, and then I would need a break because I was out of stamina in real life. Not to mention, the wildlife gave me a bit of interval training. For me, this goes in A tier, but next up we have probably the weirdest device I've ever tested. Most people creating an immersive rig will go for the full haptic vest to feel things like punches or getting shot. Ow! But I wanted something different. I wanted the physical exertion of being a hero. So I went with this, an EMS suit, or Electro muscle stimulation. It sends electrical pulses to my muscles, making them contract. So this technology is FDA cleared as a Class 2 medical device, but for very specific therapeutic uses like muscle re-education and muscle imbalances. Now, the main reason I wanted to get this device is because I've suffered with back pain for a long time now, and I only really get temporary relief from a deep tissue massage or acupuncture, but I seem to be able to get the same relief from this EMS device. I talked to my doctor and physio and got the all clear to give it a go. There are some pretty funny things you have to do. So for one, you have to be wet, like you need the pads to have really good contact with your skin. So normally what I do is just hop in a shower before and after each workout. I found it incredibly effective in games like Pistol Whip. In fact, I absolutely murdered myself in one of these workouts and took the quad burn to a whole new level and hit a max heart rate of 191 in VR. It also works very well with the dedicated fitness apps like XR Workout or FitXR. Now, do I recommend you rush out and spend a few grand on a device like this? Probably not. But I do highly recommend checking out to see if there are any local studios in your area that do it so you can test it out with a trained professional who can slowly get you used to this technology, and you can start increasing your load over time before bringing it into VR. If you happen to live in Singapore, you can try one class for free at Interpulse Fitness, or if you just want to full send it and buy it and get the same suit as me, then you can get in touch with them and they do international shipping. I'll put all the links in the description below. Now I'm going to put it A tier. It would be S tier if it was just a bit cheaper and you didn't have to be wet. I'm still not very used to that feeling. Comfort's up next, and I've tested a bunch of different straps and facial interfaces over my time, but this is the setup I'm rocking right now, the Kiwi K4 audio strap. I prefer the Elite strap, it just feels better with the type of VR activities I do. It adds a couple of hours of battery life, but most importantly, you can't have great immersion without great audio. I always thought the Quest 3 built-in speakers were okay, but they do bleed quite a bit of sound and they lack any real punch, especially in the bass department. The Kiwi audio strap changes all of that and gives you rich, private 3D audio that truly makes you feel like you're inside the game. It's obviously amazing for rhythm games, but the Skyrim soundtrack in HD, mwah. Why did I do that? Easily S tier. And then for the facial interface, I'm using a silicon-based one from Oblique. Now, this is a custom 3D printed one for my face. It's probably a bit of an overkill, but the thing I like most about it is just how easy it is to clean and keep hygienic after my high-intensity workouts. S tier. And finally for comfort, you're going to want to pick up some boxing or fitness grips. As someone with very bad wrists, these were an absolute game changer for me. They're so easy to slip on and work well with all of the other handle extenders, which we'll get to in just a little bit. But I use the Deadeye grips on my main headset and the AMVR ones on my Quest 3S. S tier. Up next we have niche handles or controllers, and first up we have something really cool from UDEX Real. These are the UD Cap haptic gloves. They're incredibly lightweight at only 45 grams and completely change the way you interact with some of your favorite games. Now here, I opted to channel my inner Darth Sidious with some chain lightning in Skyrim and had an absolute blast.
No, you
For me personally, I don't think I'm going to get a massive amount of use out of them, at least for now. And the main reason for that is I don't have the base stations or Vive trackers or anything like that. And when you're just using the Quest 3 controllers, you have to be quite close to the receiver. And if you sort of turn around, or you have the body in between your controller and the receiver, there can be quite a bit of input delay, which means I can't really use it with that treadmill. But I imagine if you do have that set up, these being absolutely insane for social games with full body tracking. Now, once again, I don't really spend any time in VR chat or anything like that, so the game that I tested with was Skyrim, and it did feel very cool to have some gesture-based magic, but when you start swinging a sword and things like that, it just felt a little bit off. So for now, I have to put this in A tier. But if you have the stations or spend a lot more time in social games, this could easily be S tier. Then we have the Enforcer by Deadeye. This is a fully automatic haptic feedback pistol. Now I first tested this bad boy out in Pistol Whip, and this game is a game changer for immersion. It also adds quite a bit of weight. There is also an optional stock that you can add on if you're a hardcore FPS fan. Now this is B tier for me, as I've had it for about 6 months and it doesn't get a huge amount of use. Now golf handles on the other hand, I can fully get behind. My favorite is the Deadeye Driver Elite, and this thing feels absolutely so great to swing. It's got adjustable weights for your comfort, and I use this about once a week with my friend, and we do our weekly scramble game in Golf Plus. And then we have the Shadow Shot Bow. Now this is a pretty funny pickup, and it's good for content creation. But as in my other videos covering it, it's not really perfect. Since pulling and releasing the string doesn't actually do anything, you still have to pull the trigger. Now last time I put this in an A tier, but I think I'm going to have to drop it down to a B tier, especially when I combine it with the treadmill. I just prefer to not have it. And my final segment is on data, and here we have the Garmin Fenix 7 Pro and the Garmin Heart Rate Monitor Pro Plus. Now if you're serious about getting into gamified fitness, then I would actually recommend picking up a good fitness tracker before you get a headset. This thing is just pumping with metrics that will make your brain explode with dopamine. You can track your stats over time, like your VO2 max, your fitness score, workouts. You can find out which game or activities are getting you into specific heart rate zones, and of course your sleep data. Now I add on the chest strap because a lot of VR games are very wristy, and if you're just using a watch, sometimes it might cut out or be a bit inaccurate. The chest strap also enables you to get breathing metrics as well, and it's just much better if you plan on doing any VR running or running because you get access to running dynamics. I wear the watch 24/7 and can absolutely give it S tier. The only thing that I'm not really a fan about is they recently introduced a subscription. Like, why does everything need a monthly subscription? But anyway, after all of that, is a $5,000 VR setup actually worth it? For most people, absolutely not. Now, this is expensive, complex, and takes up a ton of space in my room. Obviously, if your goal is to push the boundaries of what VR can be and create an experience that's both physically engaging and very immersive, then yeah, it's a pretty sick setup. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.